Guys, what's going on? I wanted to go over a workout that I actually did yesterday at the park. My intention was to do the workout, talk at you guys while I did it. I wasn't able to. There were a few other people working out. One guy brought a sound system to the park with him, and he was playing some music, and YouTube does not like music in the videos. They let you know about it right away. So I'll go over the workout. I'll tell you all about it, exactly how I structured it. And I also had a couple of questions, comments from subscribers that I wanted to address today. So as far as the workout, as always, definitely warmed up for a bit. I had a little bit of an extended warm-up because I had been driving for about an hour, a little over an hour, and definitely needed to grease the gears. But once I got warmed up, I got right into it. My first superset, pretty simple. It was dips right into some squats. What I did was a 10 down to 1 ladder on both. So it was 10 dips, 10 squats, 9 dips, 9 squats, all the way down to 1. All right, so the first question or comment that I wanted to address is from Abel9579. He says, very impressed with your ability to do volume training. Thank you, sir. He says he's 51, still a young guy. He has a long workday with long commutes, no breaks in the workday. I get poor sleep. I have a hard time with recovery. I have back issues with a lot of bulges, herniating, and stenosis. I used to do a lot of volume, but now I switched to warming up, and then he goes on to describe what I believe looks like a 3-day split here. He says he usually does 1 exercise per body part, much less volume, but I'm recovering much better and I feel better. Try to get 8,000 to 10,000 steps per day as well. What do you think of this training? Well, I think it's good if it's if it's doable, sustainable for you, and I think you summed it all up by saying that you're recovering better and you're feeling better. Now, we'll start from the top. I mean, the first thing that jumped out at me was the poor sleep. What's that about? What are you doing? What's causing you not to sleep? Is it stress? Are you boozing at all? Are you doing anything? Have you tried to regulate your sleep patterns? I know you say you have a long work day, but first and foremost, the sleep is always at the very top of the list, when it comes to overall health, which leads into you saying that you have a hard time with recovery. Recovery is rest, sleep, proper nutrition, cutting down on the stress, which I know is, believe me, I know from firsthand experience that just to tell somebody cut down on your stress, it's much easier said than done when it comes to that, but it's something that we have to work on. So when you talk about recovery, that's all encompassing, right? That's the sleep part, that's the nutrition part, it's the stress part. The back issues, I don't know if that was from, an injury, but the fact that you have a herniated disc here and there, or, some stenosis going on, I'm sure that that's hindering a lot. Maybe that's part of your poor sleep. Are you in pain? And as far as the volume, again, it's going to be specific to everybody. It's what's sustainable, obviously if you're doing any type of workout, if you're doing any type of movement, any type of exercise, and there's discomfort, it's causing you, pain, there's always an alternative. There's always, but with the back issues, I would highly suggest stretching all day, every day. If you do nothing else, I would be stretching that back out. I know, I stretch relatively often. I'm certainly not a yogi, but I do much more stretching than I used to do. But if I go a couple of days without doing it and then walk into the gym or even walk out here into the yard and try and work out, it's not happening. I have to stretch out. I'm like the Tin Man grabbing for the oil can. right? To oil everything up, to oil the joints up. So you have to keep things moving. You know, you have to be flexible. You have to be mobile. The only way you're going to do that um, is by doing some type of stretching or mobility work. I always suggest doing some type of yoga. There's a million and one yoga routines for specific, for shoulder mobility, for back issues, for knee issues, for hamstrings, just everything. You can find it. It's there. But I would definitely look to address the poor sleep issue. Um, you know, if you're getting that 8 to 10,000 steps, that's gravy. That's on top of everything else. You always want to be doing that. That's never going to hurt. The split that you mentioned here, again, if it's doable, if it's sustainable, I would say keep doing it. But I would look to make sure that you have your nutrition dialed in. I would make sure that you work as hard as hell on those sleep patterns. When it comes to stress, everybody's stressed out by different things. We all have different triggers. For me, for a long time, it was people, and I have no tolerance now. If it's a person, I'm cutting them out. If it's family, it's not always that easy, but you minimize your time. But if you are boozing, if you're doing anything else, that's gonna increase the stress levels. You definitely have to work on that, because there's no need on it, especially now you're 51. You're still young, but you're not a kid, right? And if I started drinking booze at 14 in the schoolyard, and I graduated. I'm 60 now. I don't find it doesn't give me any type of pleasure, to be pouring booze down my throat. It's a neurotoxin. So we won't get on a rant about that, but you really have to look at your overall lifestyle, the sleep, the stress, definitely the nutrition, the whole thing. Move when you can, as much as you can. Work on the flexibility and mobility, and hopefully that'll help. So I appreciate you being here, brother, and thanks for the question. All right, back to the workout. So my second superset, I moved over to the bars, and I did some dead hangs, supersetted with more dips, but these were straight bar dips. I had a low bar there, so I jumped on there to do some straight bar dips. So it was a total of 5 dead hangs, and each was 60 seconds, 50, 40, 30. And the last one was 20 seconds. And again, the dips were 10 down to 1. All right, guys, so the second question I wanted to address here, comment, is from Jason1 from New York City. Jason says, great stuff. I'm 56. And when I was younger, I would do pull-ups and dips all day. I'm getting back some strength right now. I have 3 questions. Number 1, what dip bars are those? So I've actually had several questions on these dip bars that I have here, so I'll address that. These are by a company called Base Blocks. B-A-S-E blocks, Base Blocks. I've had them for a few years. Would I recommend them? Probably not, because you can do much better at a cheaper price, or just as well, I think, as far as quality. These are adjustable in a few different ways. The height, they'll go from 51 inches tall down to, I believe it's 36. And then the width, right now I have them set for 20 inches wide. They'll go anywhere from, I believe it's 16 out to 24, but it's not easily adjustable because it does have these pins, and in a perfect world you would just pop these out and then adjust the height of the bar. It's not that simple, because in order to do it you actually have to take the whole thing apart just to adjust the height, which I don't like. So I pretty much keep it set at this one height. So again, it's by a company called Base Blocks. You can just go to their website and check it out. I believe I paid about $269 for these. If you're inclined, I don't sell them. I have no affiliation with the company, but a little trick. I mean, if you look at them and you say, hey, that might be something, I definitely want to try them, or I want to get them. A little trick I would suggest is go onto the site, put your information in as if you were going to buy it, put it into your cart, you know, like you're ready to get it, and then don't buy it. And wait a couple of days, maybe 2 or 3 days, and the company will probably send you some type of email or a notice and say, hey, did you forget this in your cart? You know, if you want, we'll give you this, we'll give you a coupon. And I think I got maybe 10 or 15% off, but I did buy another set of dip bars off of Amazon for about half the price. And to be honest with you, if I could go back in time, I would have just bought that same set for that, because I find it, that one, I'll actually put the link down below. You can go check that out. For the price on that one, I think overall you'd be better off, or again, I'm not saying that this is a poor product, but I just think you could do better with something on Amazon for a cheaper price. So I'll put links to everything that I'm mentioning here. You can go check it out yourself and make your own decision. Jason was also asking about these hand grips that I use. I've actually gotten a few questions about these. Another Amazon pickup. They're basically, I guess, just a typical, what you would call a CrossFit type hand grip. I've worn gloves. Occasionally I still do, but in the warmer weather, any type of glove, while they might help your grip on the bar, your hands are going to sweat, you know, inside the glove. So you might have a good grip on the outside, but on the inside, your hands are going to be slipping all over the place. These, I find, obviously your hands are going to breathe. You'll still get a decent grip on the bar. And I actually get, I don't have it here with me, I apologize, but I have a little, it's almost like a tiny bar of soap, and it's just wax. And you can put that, you just rub that onto the bar, which I do quite often on this bar here. I also have some tape on there, but then I'll put the wax on it. That in combination with the grips will give you a really good, solid, firm grip on the bar, you know, whether you're doing dips or whether you're doing pull-ups or anything on the bars. So these I would definitely recommend. These are by a company called Pixil, P-I-C-S-I-L. Again, another Amazon pickup, like pretty much everything in my life. So I'll leave a link to these grips down there too. Jason was also asking about my squat wedges here. Another Amazon pickup, like I said, like pretty much everything in my life. They're like I guess a hard rubber, hard plastic, whatever. But I really like them. I use them for body weight squats. I use them if I'm going to do some weighted squats with the kettlebell here, or the improvised kettlebell. But doing them with your feet elevated, doing any type of squat with the feet elevated, I feel a lot more quad activation. So that's why I use those. Probably $15, $20 on Amazon. There's a million of them, like I said, that are very similar. They're probably all made out of the same or similar material. A cheap pickup, like I said, I think it helps improve when you're doing your squat exercises. So those I would definitely recommend. So Jason also went on to describe basically the workouts that he's doing now. It's pretty much some barbell and dumbbell work. He's looking to get back some arm and back strength. And he also said he wants to get back to being able to do pull-ups and dips all day again, which is a good goal for sure. And you certainly can, Jason. You know, I always recommend, you know, the banded pull-ups if you don't have the strength to do the body weight yet. Obviously, you know, you're doing, you say here that you're doing some rows, probably, I guess, with the dumbbells or the barbell, but certainly do some body weight rows. You can do those. You could modify those by having your feet flat on the ground. But I would highly suggest, again, on Amazon, getting yourself some pull-up assist bands and just getting back up on the bar and doing some assisted pull-ups to get you moving again. And same thing with the dips. Same thing with the dips. You can get up on those parallel bars and you could use the rubber band for assistance, you know, and start. Even with the dips, you could just start doing some static holds at the top. That's going to help you build some strength. You want to be doing some dead hangs off the bar, right, to build up the grip and the forearm strength. So you could definitely get back into doing the pull-ups and the dips by doing the pull-ups and the dips. You know, you can always make modifications. It doesn't have to be full body weight. All right, guys, so back to the workout. Just to finish it up now, I did my third superset. Again, we're still with the 20-pound weight vest, and I finished up the workout with incline push-ups, supersetted with some squats. And what I did there was I did a set of 20, 15, 10, and 5. That's a total of 50 reps. So I went 20 push-ups, 20 squats, 15, 15, 10, 10, 5, 5. I did that 5 times, right? So each set gives me a total of 50 reps of each. Doing it 5 times, I finished up the workout with 250 incline push-ups and 250 squats. That was the workout, guys. Remember, each and every one of you are capable of much more than you think you are. Your mind will always give out before your body. Don't quit.